Welcome to Business is Good, the podcast all about what it means to be in business in the 21st century. Small and medium-sized businesses are the lifeblood of the UK economy, and globally they can and will have a huge impact on society, the economy and how we live our lives. From technology disruption to reworking a solution to solve the world's biggest problem, Business is Good is a podcast about what it takes to be successful and how every business defines that in different ways. Business is no longer just about being defined by what you do, but it's about giving back and redefining the problems and how we solve them in a way that works for you. I'm your host, Caroline Sumners, and I'll be giving you weekly inspirational stories from business owners who are building business and solving problems. Hi there, welcome to another edition of Business is Good podcast. This is your host, Caroline Sumners, and today I'm talking to the fantastic Elizabeth Mckenzie. Elizabeth and I have worked together previously. Elizabeth is an amazing copywriter, as well as being a comedy writer, and I think is also in the process of writing a film script. Not only do Elizabeth and I share a love for her hometown of Melbourne, but we also spent a considerable amount of time talking about dogs in this episode. So please do enjoy. You'll get some great tips from Elizabeth in terms of copywriting, how to add personality to your work, and how to really stand out. So please do enjoy this chat with Elizabeth Mckenzie. Elizabeth Mckenzie.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Elizabeth is copywriter extraordinaire. You're more than that, though, aren't you? You're more than a copywriter. You're
I guess
general problem solver guru.
Well, and I guess we can get to that, but that's, I guess, because copywriting really is the icing on the cake. You need to have all that foundation. You need to have the cake before you can ice it. So I guess in order to be a copywriter extraordinaire, you need to have the foundations of the strategy and the business model and what we're doing and what we're selling and who we're selling it to. So it is a very layered kind of approach when you want to write copy that works. And so, definitely. I mean, I call upon a lot of my marketing and media communications that I studied and worked in. And so I guess copywriting is my true passion. It's what I love. I love that icing on the cake. But I'm definitely helping build that kind of the foundation anytime I work with a business to make sure that I'm writing the copy that's going to work.
So do you find a lot of the time when people come to you that they haven't got the basics? So they come to you for copywriting because they think they need copywriting, which they obviously do. But do you find that they haven't got the basics worked out, and it's just like?
I feel like both. I guess mostly they've got basics sort out. Like, all right, I'm going to be like an accountant. Like, it's not like they're like, I don't know what I want. So they've got their basics. They know what they want to do. They generally know what they want to sell. They generally know about like who they want to sell it to. But what they are is confused. They are confused about like what's the message and what's the message I need to say to talk to my people? And is this really what people actually want? Like taking the fact that, yes, you've created an offer that is something people need, but really looking at it from a place looking at it at a place of what people actually want. And so there's a lot of kind of confusion, as well as, information overload, right? A lot of businesses come to me overloaded with information with this person said this and this person said that and this person said this. So it's kind of, weaving through a lot of that, flicking a lot of that aside, coming back to the core of like, this is your business. This is how you want to show up. This is what you want. And like, let's use that to guide us in then, how do you position your product, and then how do you, sell it as well with the copy that we write as well. So I guess most people have the most basics down, but layered in confusion. And what do I do, and where do I go, and what do I say, and how do I say it, and what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, even for someone that's in marketing myself, I think because Elizabeth and I, full disclosure, a lot of the copy on my website has been written by Elizabeth Mckenzie. Because I think you get you're so close to it that you can't separate out what you're trying to say. And that's the struggle I always have with writing copy for myself.
Absolutely. And, full disclosure for me, I need a soundboard when I write copy for myself too, because I'm too close to it. So I need to always have that one layer removed of, for someone to be able for me to be able to bounce ideas off. But absolutely, when you're really close to it, you kind of take a lot of the information or knowledge that you have as it's just, you assume everyone knows what you know when you're really, really close to something. Yeah. And most of the time that's not the case. Most of the time your knowledge and your expertise and your experience, it's very unique to you, but you just kind of a lot of people just assume that what they know is what everyone else knows. So they kind of like start off on this back foot of not really, I guess, like accepting truly how unique they are and what they have to offer. So I think there's a bit of that, going, oh, by the way, everything that you've experienced, what you've learned and, what you've studied, what you've had experience in, that is all stuff that we need to actually uncover and talk about in your copy, because people don't know what you know.
Yeah, and you know what? I make that mistake all the time. I was going on I was actually presenting something, and I was sort of going on about Facebook pixels and retargeting and stuff like that.
Right.
And I looked out at the audience, and there was just like these blank looks. Mm-hmm. And I was
right. So we do tend to pitch ourselves for our industry instead of our idol client.
Yes.
A lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
When you start talking about Facebook pixels and you start talking about, your industry, because it's such ingrained knowledge for you, you don't realize that this is all brand new information. So I see that mistake a lot where, the business is pitching more at an industry level knowledge and to their industry peers, which, if you're wanting to write an article in an industry journal, that's totally fine. That's the right audience. But when you're trying to write your website or write your emails to your ideal clients, that's kind of where the messaging goes wrong. And that's where, that first step is coming back and really recognizing that your accumulation of your skills and your experience and your knowledge all make you unique. So it's rewinding the clock and going, hang on, I have all of this and my ideal client doesn't.
Yeah.
So I really understand that knowledge gap. And, I know that you talk about it a lot, Carolyn, with the, the customer life cycle. And we do a lot about that. I do a lot about that as well in my copywriting. Before I can write the copy, my question a lot is, where are they in the buying cycle and where is their awareness in the buying cycle? What have they done before they've even gotten to you?
Yeah.
What's their knowledge of what you're selling before they've even gotten to you? Where are they at? We need to pinpoint that moment so we can go, okay, this is assumed knowledge and these are all their knowledge gaps. And that really helps us understand what kind of message we need to create. So, for example, I'm working with a client right now who's a dietitian, and we're working on a weight loss sales page for her. And in that process, asking, okay, let's talk about the customer life cycle. We discovered that her ideal client has done everything under the sun, has tried every single diet, has read every single thing online. There's like I said, information overload. And so the assumed knowledge is the assumed knowledge is she knows what increase your metabolism means. She knows all the buzzwords. She knows calorie deficit. So we knew exactly what words the client, her ideal client, would know that we need to read about. But we also knew that the client wouldn't understand the word metabolic rate. So we knew that was a bit too advanced. So we needed to cut that. So all of a sudden, when you start to kind of really look at your ideal client and where they are in their journey, this really drives your copy in what to say. So you're speaking at that right level. And again, that's kind of like that top layer of like, what words do we use and what words don't we use? but like even before that, in the messaging, we could jump straight into talking about dieting without having to set up, oh, you're wanting to diet, because we know that they've been dieting since they were 16. So we didn't have to, set the scene of, oh, you're looking at losing a few pounds, or like you're interested. We didn't have to do any of that, because they're well beyond that. They're like, I need something that works. So we kind of went for the angle on that page of, let's just give them the education, because they don't have, that's the missing piece in their knowledge, because they've been following Spitspo accounts on Instagram and they've tried all the different things and it's not working, and let's tell them why it's not working and build that credibility quickly. So really understanding your customer life cycle, and in addition, where their knowledge is at and where the knowledge gaps are, really helps drive the message and the copy.
Yeah, and actually that's really that's such great advice, and I've just actually written that down, because I even though we're recording this, because so it's simple when you say it, but it's really difficult to do, isn't it? I think if you don't really
I think when you're so close to it and you're kind of having that conversation in your own head, you can kind of spin out on it, but having just someone like you to work through a customer lifecycle session or working with a copywriter can help just pull it out of your head, and you can really see it clearly for what it is.
Yeah, actually, I'm working with a client right now, and we just wrote a blog post, and it's the CEO that looks at it, and he was like, oh, no, it's not right. It's not quite right. It's not detailed enough. It's not, it's too simple. And I had the very same conversation with him about, but it's not for you, and it's not for CEO level. It's for a junior marketing manager, or it's someone who's just coming into this, or someone that's just researching this product solution at the outset of their journey. And as soon as we got that straight, it was like, oh, yeah. But the problem is, sometimes when you get clients who are approving blogs or content, they're looking at it from the wrong perspective. So that's a great reminder. So, copywriter extraordinaire, how did you? I always call you that. How did you get into doing this? Where did it start? How did it
start?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I never wore being a good girl employee very well at all. Any job in the corporate jungle was never going to allow me the freedom to do what I love, and could never really find a place to call home in a career sense. So I started my business when I went back to be a full-time student. So first I studied my marketing and media communications, went out into the big bad corporate world, moved around a lot. I was like, oh my God, I can't do corporate. And I went back to become a full-time student and do my master's in speech pathology. So I thought, look, if I can't do if I'm marketing and media communications just doesn't feel right in corporate world, I'm going to take what I love about marketing and what I love about marketing, which is the communication, and I'm going to do it for good. So I went and became a speech pathologist. And while I was studying full time, I started my business. First I started a blog, as per everyone at the time. Blogging, that was so big back then. Started a blog, and then kind of loved writing, loved it. And got to a point where, the magical phrase of, I want to monetize my blog. What do I do? It's so funny. First I was like, it's ridiculous. First I was like, well, everyone around me was becoming life coaches, because that was what you did. You had a blog and you got to talk about whatever you wanted, and then you would sell life coaching. So I thought maybe I'll do that. And I was like, oh, hang on, I don't know how to be a life coach. I'm not going to do that. And I remember getting on a call with another, I had a 2-hour consult with someone recommended to me, business coach wise. And we got on a call, and she said, so Liz, tell me about yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm studying speech pathology, but before that, marketing and media communications was my degree, and I worked 5 years in corporate. And she's like, right, so if you want to run a business, you should do marketing. And I was like, what? Like, what? She's like, well, you have all the experience. And it kind of came down to like all this natural knowledge that you have that built your blog up into something, all of this, everything that you've done to run a successful blog happened because you studied marketing and media communication. It was because you studied that.
Yeah.
So take all that ingrained knowledge and then like distill it into a marketing consulting package and sell it. And so I did. And so that was when my business was born. And pretty much it just kind of kept developing and developing from there. So I started out as a marketing consultant and did that for a good kind of 3 years, and then it just started niching a little bit more. It became a little bit more about messaging and the content of marketing. And then I kind of woke up one day and got to a point where I was like, I just want to do all the writing for my clients, and put out an offer. I say, hey, I'm going to do some copywriting. Who wants it? And everyone wanted it. Yeah, and it kind of that's it. That's it. Here I am now. 5 years in doing copywriting, and I'm now again branching out a little bit to offer some marketing and sales consulting, some copy coaching, just a few little extra kind of ways to work with people and meet them where they're at. So that's how I became a copywriter. I love that. I love that in my journal. I kind of just got to a point where I was like, I just want to write. I just want to make money from my words. I just want to write. I just want to make money from, I just kept kind of affirming it. And okay, wait, this is also another crazy part of the story is that I was living with my roommate. I was living with my housemate at the time. And so I was working in my business, doing my marketing, consulting, and I just kept saying, I just want to do the writing for them. Like, I'd consult with them, I'd map out their message, and I'd tell them to go off and do it. And for some reason or not, they wouldn't do it, or they'd stress about it. People were finding it really hard to express themselves, even though we'd mapped out exactly what to say. There was just a little, it was just harder for them to do it, and writing was so natural to me. And so my housemate at the time came home and I just said, you know what, Ryan, I just really want to write. And he's like, so his job, he's a copywriter for a big, massive advertising agency. And it never clicked for me that was what I wanted to do. So I'm living with a copywriter. And he comes home and he's like, why don't you just become a copywriter, Liz? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, just do it. Like, you have the marketing education, you have all of the knowledge to actually be a copywriter. There's no real bachelor of copywriting, Liz. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, just do it. You have, like, that's how I did it, and that's how I work it, like DDB or whatever it was at the time. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And so I was like, that's when I wrote the email and sent it out. And I was like, the rest is history. And I was like, oh my God, the universe is so like conspiring this whole time. Like, made me live with my best mate who was a copywriter. And it was under my nose this whole entire time. And I just needed to open my eyes a little bit. So yeah, that's my story.
That's so cool. I love it. And as you say, the rest is history. But you don't just do, you're like a screenwriter as well, right? You're writing a play.
Well, so this, that one journal entry of millions of years ago now of I just want to write, I just want to make money from my words. I feel like that was like, copywriting was the first thing. And then I wrote a book, and then I was like, I want to write a TV show. And then it was almost like this floodgate to open to be and live my truth, which is I'm a writer in all the ways, in all the capacity, in any way. When I write, that's when I feel like I'm living my best life, my best self. So if I'm not writing, everything goes downhill. I feel lethargic. I feel like I hate the world and everyone around it. And it's funny because when I have those moments, I check in and I'm like, hang on, when was the last time you actually wrote something? And then I was like, I haven't written in like 2 days. No wonder, like, go and write something. So, So,
well, that's amazing that it has that effect on you, though. That's kind of like, that shows that that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Exactly. So, copywriting was that first step, and it's, I guess it is my first true love in terms of, my writing, and I love it. There's nothing more exciting than when you land on a phrase that for a client that you're like, oh my God, this is so fun. And, really my copywriting is here to make people it's to delight people. I really have made a name for myself for personality infused copy and really making sure that, people, people, your target market audiences are so clued in now. Yeah. They're so smart and they're also really jaded. So if you can just make them smile, then you have done so much for your brand that you haven't been able to do by just making them smile, by delighting them, just by lighting their day up a little bit, even though they're reading sales copy. So it's really like my philosophy in my copywriting, which kind of then I guess bled over into that kind of I want to entertain people. And that's where I wrote my book. And then that kind of opened up the floodgates of I want to entertain people, with stories. And that's kind of where the screenwriting came in. And that was when I was like, all right, I need to have a TV show made. I need to have a movie made. I need to really entertain people at this next level. So yeah, it keeps growing. It keeps evolving. I was like, what is my next thing? What's my next type of writing that I can do? I don't know, all the ways, all the words. It's definitely me.
So maybe in a few years' time, we're going to see you best screenplay at the Oscars.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
The plan. I'm putting it in my journal now. I have been. Let's get real.
Forever.
I have been. Exactly.
That's so cool. I love it. So what's been the highlight, do you think, of your business so far?
Well, I think the highlight is getting paid to write words.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of what I love about writing and copy, and obviously how it bleeds out into every kind of area, is that you kind of get to play God. You kind of get to create out of nothing. It's a thought in your head, an idea, a spark, and you get to create it into something. And then I get paid to do that. So to me, it's such a true honor and highlight every day that I get to wake up and get paid to write. And the bonus is I get to do it from home and I get to do it with my dogs. So I couldn't ask for anything better. There's no way I could ever go into an office again. I was like, what am I supposed to do without my dogs? All day. I'm a crazy dog lady. What can I say?
It's cool. And that is not the whole reason why Elizabeth and I get on well, but probably one of them. And I don't only interview people that have dogs, but it seems to be going that way. It's not a criteria, but maybe it will be for the next series.
Right. Well, but maybe it's okay, so because I've had Melbourne for 10 years. He actually just had his 10th birthday 2 weeks ago. And I started my business, I reckon it was 7 years ago now in total. So those first 3 years of having Melbourne, I was like, why am I going to why am I going to this corporate job and leaving my dog behind? I reckon there was also something. I reckon my dog definitely helped me get on the road to entrepreneurship, so I didn't have to leave him at home by himself.
Well, you know what? I now work in a small co-working space that I started up with a business partner, and the reason that we are in the building that we're in, because we've got a space. Yeah.
See, I was the only reason I could go into a co-working space is if I could bring my dogs, and I feel like I may as well just stay at home.
Yeah, well, the thing is, so I said to my business partner, right, yeah, definitely, we'll get a space, and it's only small, the space that we have. I said, but
right,
it has to be somewhere where Rufus can come, because there's no point me going there all day and leaving him at home or paying for him to go to doggy daycare. It makes no sense. So I was like, right, we have to have somewhere where
oh my God,
dogs. So we have a niche co-working offering in where I live, because we are the only place that you can take dogs. So yesterday there was 4 humans and 3 dogs.
I love that.
It was chaos.
Oh my God.
And because my dog is the oldest, he's 6.5. Mm-hmm. He's getting a little bit bad-tempered with the puppies.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's such a great niche.
Exactly. So we just need, I reckon it's going to get to the point where we're actually going to need someone to watch the dogs, I think. It's going to be like a doggy daycare / co-working space.
but they're there constantly. So you're there, you got good dog vibes, but then you've got a dedicated person to look after them and take them for walks to give you a little break. And then they come back and they're like super happy to see you.
Exactly. How cool is that?
I love it. That's so cool.
I know, it's crazy, but you've got to, the thing is, it's I just actually wrote down, I think I might do a new podcast, The Business of Dogs, I think. Or something like that. And people interview people that have got a business but also got a dog. It can be about both.
How do you do it?
I don't know. Rufus would be very uncooperative. Yeah, it's not very visual, is it? Just having a dog sitting there. I don't know. We're not going to be able to do that. Okay, so getting totally off track. So what's next for the business? What's happening? We have spoken a bit about this offline, but what's happening next with the business? You've said you're kind of going back to marketing-ish, not just adding that.
Well, yeah, I guess. Okay, so I'm doing, my business was called The Copy Word, and I just did a big reveal this week that I'm changing the name to Ride or Die, which is totally more aligned to me. And in that process, I did do a bit of a deep dive into my own business and took a look at my customer life cycle journey myself and realized that I was really only servicing people in a tiny gap in time in their entire business journey, which was generally, hey, you need a new website, you need new words on your website, or do you need to set up an email welcome series? And that felt really restrictive to me. I mean, at the time, it kind of happened naturally. I think, the message of niching down has gotten really out of hand as business owners. We believe, and I do believe laser focus is important, but I believe I got to a point where I niched down so much that I felt like it was restricting the way that I could support my community and small business owners. So I kind of did a bit of a look at my services, and that's where I kind of, instead of only having the one copywriting offer, kind of branched out to have now, I'm in the middle of launching 5 different offers, which are designed to support business owners at different parts of their business journey. It all comes down, it's still all tied into copywriting, which, like I said at the start, which is that icing on the cake, but I'm also now helping with the cake as well. So I've got my copywriting projects, which aren't going anywhere. There's Copywriter on Demand, which is a lot more of a you and I together. We work an hour in your business together on whatever projects you're working on, in terms of, the copy, the content, the marketing, just having that, like, I'm on your team and I'm supporting you every week. Yeah. I felt like that was kind of missing, once people got my content, and again, this is like me having that assumed knowledge. It's like, oh, here's a Google Doc with content, with all the copy, go do something with it, and assuming people knew exactly what to do, which is not true. People need a lot of support in, okay, now you've got this copy, what are we doing with it? How are we launching it? How are you repurposing it? What are we doing with ongoing content? How are you getting the message out about this? There's so much after just receiving copy. And obviously, with the copy we did for you as a marketer, you knew exactly what to do with it. And you're one of my star clients who actually went ahead and put it on your website. It's crazy how many people have it sitting on that, right? Like, and that was one of my frustrations. I was like, you haven't updated the copy. I haven't seen it anywhere. Like, and I think people get stuck with what to do next. How do I show up? And consistently showing up is, unfortunately, what we have to do as business owners to remain in mind. We have to be consistent. And so I feel like, showing up for a one moment in time for a client just wasn't enough support for them. So I've kind of branched out into more of a ongoing copy consulting coaching for weekly with clients. I'm also going to launch a content club as well, which is a smaller membership site, because I know a lot of people stare at a blank page and stress out about what to say and then don't say anything. And it's shocking to me how many people actually have spent the time to build a list and then just do not email people. Like, I'm like, oh my God, you just spent your time and energy and your money building a list and you're telling me you haven't emailed them in 3 months? Like, what? It is an epidemic in business. And I think I think it's understandable when you have to consistently come up with things to say, and things to say that aren't just because you have to say something. So I really want to support people in that idea generation and ability to show up and enjoy the process. And the fourth one is kind of going back to my roots of offering some marketing and sales consulting, that kind of customer lifecycle stuff that we spoke about. I do it naturally in a copywriting projects, but I'd really love to offer it as more of a targeted offering, and really monitor, with a marketing plan and putting the plan into action and doing the analysis on things and really monitoring it. So diving deeper into that. And then the fifth one, which is it's a passion project of mine, but it's business coaching for copywriters. So being on this journey as a copywriter and being able to be really successful in that field, I would love to support other writers who also have a journal filled with words saying, I want to make money from my words. I really want to help them be able to do that, because when you have that kind of natural passion for writing, you totally can translate that into a very profitable business. And I'd love to help people do that. So yeah, this kind of like, you got me on the week that I kind of launched this all out into the world.
I know. And who knew? Because we had multiple reschedules for various illnesses and time zone challenges and all sorts of shenanigans going on. And it literally all happened this week. I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. True story. I need to tell you a true story. I was doing some LinkedIn. What's the word? Outreach. Right. Took some of the content that we'd done together and then added to it, took away from it, and I was sending connection requests to people, sending them, a nice follow-up email. Yeah. And I got 2, not just one, but 2 emails back, messages back saying it was the best LinkedIn outreach message they'd ever received.
Oh my God. Yay.
Yes. I was like, so cool. I'm so cool. If only I'd written it all. But it shows that actually if you get it right, it really connects with people, right?
Totally. And I do, you're absolutely right. It is about, and I think, it comes back to, in a world where we are bombarded with information and messages, if you can stand out just that little bit, the odds will be in your favor. For you, if you can kind of think about how many outreach emails go out in LinkedIn and how boring and maybe mundane or just like meh they are, and you were able to do something that was just a little bit different and a little bit interesting, how that kind of changed the trajectory of that kind of that message, and for you to be able to build that rapport and that connection with someone. Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome.
The power of good copy. You were talking earlier about if you can make someone smile or make someone laugh. I mean, randomly, Elizabeth is in Melbourne in Australia. I'm on the south coast of the UK. And that we did have a connection in common, Liz Riley, who I think you think you've known her?
I'm working with her right now.
Are you? So, yes. So Liz happened to comment on a Facebook post that Elizabeth had written on, a couple of years ago, whenever it was we still first worked together. And I was like, who is this person? Who is this copywriter? And I literally connected, liked Elizabeth's Facebook page, looked at a couple of things, and I was like, I want to work with this person. And that was literally how it went, right? So it shows that, show up on social media, because you don't know who knows who, right? You don't know who knows how you're going to get connected to somebody or anything. And that what you write does matter, because if you read it and you immediately connect with it, then I was sold straight away. And it didn't matter that there was an 11-hour time difference. So... I mean, it did something.
We made it work.
Right? So, but I think that's a really important lesson for people to sort of take away from it, because it is so easy just to think, I just write anything today.
Right.
But actually, and I'm guilty of it myself, but whenever I see your your posts and stuff, I'm like, oh, she's so good. She's so good. I wish I could write like that. But it's true, right?
But I mean, I agree. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I can fall into the trap of a better post something. And I do have to stop myself and be like, hang on, like you never know who's watching. And I think it is like a bit of a hat tip to the silent observer, right? There are so many people out there watching you and you don't know it, because they're just silently observing, and they're not going to comment on your status, and they're not even going to like it, but they're silently observing you. So don't forget that there are people out there watching. It's so, okay, I did tell you another story. I reached out to an agent in Hollywood because I wanted to see if I could get close to an actress about a movie that I'd written. And it's like this far off shot. And it was just like this, sometimes I'm just like, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to like find Margot Robbie's like agent and like reach out to him. And I accidentally left my links in for my Instagram on the email that I left. And I have a little I have an open notification, like it's called Banana Tag. It's very cool because it lets you know who's opened your emails or not. And so I had that turned on because I wanted to see if they would ever open it. And they'd opened it, and then they clicked on my Instagram, and I would have never known if I didn't track that. And it totally reminded me that there are those silent observers. People are going to click on look. And how would you feel? My favorite saying is, how would you feel if your biggest business crush, or just your business, I don't know, your celebrity crush landed on your Instagram or on your Facebook page or even on your website? Like, how would you feel of them reading it? And just to kind of like tap in and see, like, are you giving your best? Are you using copy that's like 10 years old, but you haven't bothered to update because you're like, no one's going to visit my website, when people are visiting? Maybe not a lot, but people still are. And that, out of however many people, you could still get a client from that. So having someone stalk my Instagram just made me go, oh, you got to up your game, Liz. Like, are you like just posting crap because you think you need to just right? Versus like, do you say something interesting, say something entertaining, make someone laugh? I don't know. I guess that story is just a little cautionary tale that people are watching, maybe even Hollywood. So are you just posting for the sake of it, or have you really just, and even for me, even if I'm like, okay, I want to post a photo of my dog, I'm like, I'm going to just give myself an extra 10 minutes to think of a funny caption or think of something interesting to say to go along with the photo. Right. So like, it's just giving yourself that time. It's because there are silent observers. People are watching you, and it might be Carolyn, and she might stalk you and want to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, I got to a spell last year with social media. Towards the end of the year, I was like, oh, I'm done. I've got
I think it's
nothing to say. No one cares. I don't care, none of that. And so I just stopped posting. So it's, as I said to many clients, it's do as I say, not do as I do.
I think I'll go through cycles with it though as well. Yeah, and I think, in the grand scheme of things, if you take a month off, it's in the grand scheme of running your business forever, it's not a big deal. Sometimes you've got to regroup. Sometimes you do get burnt out a little bit, and you need to just take a break. So also not to like catastrophize and then just not show up for 6 months because you didn't show up for 1 month.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I just thought, you know what, I'm just not going to get stressed about it and be like, oh, you must, because then you start reading stuff like you must Instagram engagement, you must post 3 times a day and 6 stories and all this. And it's like, who has the time or energy for that?
Totally.
Unless you are like a professional Instagrammer.
Right. Unless you're selling an Instagram course, you don't have to post 3 times a day on Instagram.
Yeah. It's insane. So now I'm like, okay, when did I last post? Like, actually, it might have been yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. 1 day ago. Yeah. But I do like every 2 or 3 days, because otherwise it just becomes too much for you.
Right.
But I think you're right. That's a really good cautionary tale about, and you never know who's watching. and the silent people that are not saying anything, but they're just taking note.
Right. And then we're waiting in the wings, ready to work with you, ready for you to kind of say that one thing that's going to click for them as well. And that's how I love to think of it, is that these silent observers aren't there to judge you. They're waiting for that. They're waiting in the wings, ready to pay you, and just waiting for that moment where something clicks for them. So it's a disservice for you not to show up for that. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'm going to close this out because we'll just carry on. So I got one last question that I don't ask every guest, but I think that I'm going to ask you because I think you're going to have a great answer. So it's random. What is your favorite word? Okay. My favorite word is braggadocio.
What?
It means it's braggadocio. It means braggy, boastful. But it's just so fun to say. Oh my God, braggadocio. Just say it, braggadocio.
Braggadocio. How do you spell that? Brag?
BRAGGADOCIO. So funny story. I thought this word was made up by this comedian.
I thought you'd made that up then.
No, go on to. So I was watching one of my favorite comedians' Instagram stories, and he's telling a story about going through the airport and TSA catching like a gun in someone's carry-on, and he was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be so braggadocio about catching a gun at TSA at an airport. I mean, that's your job." And it just sent me over the edge. It was so hilarious. And I thought he made up that word. I thought he made it up. I was like, but this is my new word. I'm going to say it. And then I found out it was actually a real word in dictionary.com. And so it's real, you guys.
Okay, yeah, I can. So I've just checked it up on the all-knowing Google as we talk, and it's and so it confirms boastful or arrogant behaviour, and then the next thing down is how do you use braggadocio in a sentence? It's got some examples. One of which is, will Donald Trump have yet another reason for his unrelenting braggadocio?
See, there you go. And I think the reason why I wanted to share this with you is that, yes, every word carries a meaning and a translation, but really words also, people carry a certain meaning around a word just for how it sounds and how it feels in your mouth when you say it out loud. And that one is just such a fun word to say for me. So words aren't just about the meaning, the dictionary translation is all about how it sounds when you're saying it as well. So
I love it. I am going to set myself the challenge of using that in a sentence. Yes. I don't know if it's going to be able to be tomorrow, but I'm going to try at least in the next week to be able to use that word, and I will report back.
Yes. People will be like, what? Are you speaking Italian? Like, I thought maybe it was like an Italian version of being maybe it is, maybe it is the Italian version, and I'm fine with it because I love Italy.
Oh, it's going to be like my favorite word from now on. Everyone's going to be like, will you stop saying that? It's so annoying. Oh, all right. Well, that's a good point to end on, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hey, so wasn't that fun? I just love Elizabeth. We always have great fun when we chat. We always manage to go totally off-piste when we're talking, but I think Elizabeth has just got some great ideas and is a great writer. So I hope you managed to get some good tips out of that from Elizabeth. And that's it for another week of Business is Good podcast. I hope to see you again soon. And see you for now. Bye. Tune in next week where we have more inspirational stories talking about moving your business beyond what it is and moving it more towards what you're in business for, what's important, and doing good and changing the way things should be done.